Hello and welcome back to the Homeschool Library. Brad here, coming to you from the Little Green Schoolhouse. Today I'd like to talk about the classics. Everybody likes to talk about the classics, right? There's countless videos out there on booktube, people showing off their classics collection, and they're all wonderful. Of course, here in our homeschooling journey, as I've mentioned many times before, we strive to provide our kids with as much of a classical education as we are able. And it's hard to provide a classical education without the classics. And I love seeing the classics collections that some of you folks have out there. Everybody's got their favorite. There's a bunch of videos of the Penguin classic. We've got some of those here. Here's a Penguin Song of Roland here. Maybe you're more of an Oxford University Press fan. We've got one of those here. This is the Edmund Burke's Reflections on the Revolution in France. I don't remember where I picked this one up, honestly. I don't think I've ever read it. I think I got it for a college class one time, but never wound up using it. Oxford, Penguin, to me, they're 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Kind of comes down onto the translation with your particular preference, and many folks have both. We do here as well. Maybe you're more of a vintage classic collection type person, and you like the Walter J. Black classics. You remember these? I think these came out in the 50s, the 60s. I don't remember. They're nice hardcovers, have held up very well. I've got a few of these. This is On Man in the Universe by Aristotle. That's also one I've never read. I've got these pretty recently, maybe just a few months ago, and I think of a library book haul that we did is where I got these. Maybe you're more of a contemporary. You like some of the newer stuff, like the Barnes & Noble leather-bound classics. These are very popular right now. I've had this one for years. This is the H.P. Lovecraft, The Complete Fiction. Great. I like the silvered leaves there. They've got the ribbon. Fun. I've read through this a couple of times. Big Lovecraft fan. This is a great volume. They're all wonderful. But today, I'd like to talk about a classic set, a reprint publications that I would guarantee you've never heard of. And if you have heard of it, I bet you don't remember that you knew about it, because it's been a long time since it's been public. I've scoured YouTube for videos on this set. I can't find any. If there's any out there, if you know of somebody who has featured any of these, let me know, because I'd love to make friends with that person. I love these. I think it might be my favorite all-time classic reprint set of just wonderful classic literature. And the best part of it is they were all 50 cents. That's right. Back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, I'm talking maybe like 89 through 92, 93. You could walk into Walmart. I think it was just Walmart. And maybe like in the front of the store, or sometimes back in the stationery department, back when Walmart had, books. They had this big dump table full of mass market paperback reprints of almost every classic book you could think of. And they were 50 cents, 2 for $1. And I got so many of these when I was a kid. I'd save up every penny that I had, and every chance we got, we'd go to Walmart, and I'd bring home 2, 3, 4 of these if I could afford it. Spend a couple of bucks. And the most awesome thing about this is I'm 12, 13 years old, building up a set of literature. I felt so mature and cultured as a 12, 13-year-old kid, and that was the best part of these. I've still got all of them that I got originally. I've picked up a few in more recent years, like on eBay, sometimes used bookstores. You find them on eBay now. You're going to be paying a lot more than 50 cents for them, generally speaking. But originally, it was such a great deal. So I'd like to show you these and see if you recognize any of them. The first one up here we've got, and I'll say the major feature of these is they all had that big orange sticker on it. Sometimes there were some yellow ones, but mostly they were orange. There's Walmart 2 for $1. Walmart exclusive. These were published by Rarity Public. I don't know if you can see that logo there. Right there, Rarity Books. This was an imprint of Tor, Tom Doherty Associates, I think is that Tor Books, mostly known for like fantasy books and such. But they put these out with their Rarity imprint, and so many of them went exclusively to Walmart for this 2 for $1 deal. And this one here, if you didn't see, this is Washington Irving, The Devil and Tom Walker and Other Stories. What I loved about these is, as a 12-year-old kid, where are you going to get another chance to read The Devil and Tom Walker? You know, usually the only Washington Irving story most people still know today is this one here, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. But in this, you've got a lot of the other stories too. This one's got Rip Van Winkle in it, and several others that I've never seen anyplace else. I don't have another edition of a lot of these stories, so this is a great to have. Next up, we've got Black Beauty by Anna Sewell. And Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I remember as a kid watching an old black and white Wuthering Heights movie. I tell you, this story and most of the Bronte sisters' books, granted, I'm not the target audience for their style of literature. And I remember as a kid being bored to tears by the movie. Just this kind of gothic, wispy romance. Not my thing, but you know what? It was that art. That cover art that sucked me in. Like, you know what? I can read this. And I have read this. I like Wuthering Heights. It actually was my gateway drug into checking out the rest of the Bronte sisters stuff. And I think Wuthering Heights is still my favorite. This is a great one. Last of the Mohicans by James Fenimore Cooper. Another great cover. And yes, I get it. That big orange dot, it's a turnoff in some ways. And I think for a lot of people, it probably still is. But for me, it doesn't bother me in the slightest. It really doesn't. I hate that it gets in the way of what is otherwise a really cool cover. But hey, it's 50 cents. You get what you pay for, right? Totally worth it. And that's another thing that I love about these. It didn't matter what size book you were going to get, same price. Last of the Mohicans, 50 cents. Legend of Sleepy Hollow, 50 cents. Same price. You can't beat that. My favorite book of all time, you guys know this, Treasure Island. Here, someday I'm going to have to make a video just on all of the different editions of Treasure Island that I have in my collection. Not my favorite cover art, though, on this one. I wish it was better. I like it. It's good. It tells the story, but it's Treasure Island. It deserves more. Got a couple of Robert Louis Stevensons here after Treasure Island. Here's Kidnapped. And, of course, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I love the cover on that one, too. He's great. I don't know who did the art. Oh, yes. Some of these do have the artist name. Dwayne O. Myers did the cover art. There's his signature right there at the bottom. Stephen Crane's The Red Badge of Courage. And House of the Seven Gables there by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I just read this. I finished up reading this a couple of days ago. I'd never read it before. I'd always had mixed, it was kind of a mixed bag, reading reviews. Some people love it, some people hate it. And as reading it, I was kind of having mixed emotions on it as well until I finished the book and it came to such a satisfying conclusion. I'm still processing House of the Seven Gables. I think I'm going to have to do a review on this very soon. I loved it. I will probably read it again someday. And part 2 of the Nathaniel Hawthorne double feature. This is The Scarlet Letter. Now, if you notice anything different about this one was not part of the Walmart exclusive. Here, this is same publisher, Airy, from Tor Books, same style, cover art, everything, but this one slipped through that Walmart crack. I don't know if there was a Walmart exclusive version of this. This is one that I found years later as an adult, I don't know how many years ago I found this one, I think in a used bookstore, but I recognized it immediately. I saw that Airy and I've got to get that to add it to the collection. The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas. This was not the first version of the Three Musketeers that I ever read. The first version was one that I think I checked out from the library. No, the first version was an abridged children's classic version that I read. And then I read a full version that I checked out from the library. Not a great translation on that one. That almost steered me away from Dumas entirely. But then when I grabbed this one, it still took me a few years to read this. But when I read it, I got a new appreciation. So I don't know who did the translation on this one, but it was a better one. These are all, by the way, complete and unabridged. Marketed to kids. Kids with 2 quarters to rub together. Full-length, unabridged, classic novels. Things that I've never seen marketed to kids in my lifetime, some of these books. A lot of times you see some of these in children's classics form, but at least they're always abridged. These were not, and that's awesome. Got some Jack London here. I got The Sea Wolf. And the great Jack London double feature here, White Fang and The Call of the Wild. Lewis Carroll, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. This is just the Adventures in Wonderland, not the Through the Looking Glass or any of that. Little Women, another one here, Louisa May Alcott. Also another one that, granted, I'm not the target audience for books like Little Women. I get that. I love this book. I think I read this. It was required reading in high school. I don't remember what year. And I read it and it surprised me how much I enjoyed it. It's really a fantastic book. The sequel, Little Men, not so much. Stay away from that one. I've never read Joe's Boys. There's a third one in that. I probably never even gonna bother. But Little Women, good book. Some Jules Verne here, Journey to the Center of the Earth. And Around the World in 80 Days. Another one that I'm not the biggest fan of this cover art on that. It definitely looks like Around the World in 80 Days, but I don't know. It doesn't quite fit the rest of them. That's just me. We got The Lost World here by Arthur Conan Doyle. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Can't forget the Sir there. And The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The first collection of Sherlock Holmes stories. I'll say at this point, I have no idea how many of these books came out. I don't think anyone knows. I've done some research on these, and there's no master list. from the publisher or anywhere else. Many of the ISBN numbers are identical. Let's take a couple of random ones here. Yeah. 55902-983, Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And the next one here, by Charles Dickens, A Tale of Two Cities. Same number. These were just kind of a big mass publication, all thrown out there under the same number. So every once in a while, I'll find some random one that I'd never heard of or seen before, and I'll snag it when I get a chance. Someday I'd like to say that I have them all, but I'll never know until I stop finding new ones. I've stopped finding new ones several times, and then every once in a while a brand new one will pop up. But I say that because I'd like to imagine that somewhere out there are other collections of the Sherlock Holmes stories, but I don't know. So yeah, next one there, I showed you already, Tale of Two Cities. I got to point this out because you see that guy right there on that art? I don't know who did this one. I can't see a signature anywhere on it. It was probably cut off on the bottom. But that guy, I've got another book somewhere, in another paperback book in my collection somewhere that's got that same face on it. And if I ever find that book, I'll have to bring that out and show that. I know it's the same guy. I know it is. It looks too familiar. Another Charles Dickens here. We've got A Christmas Carol. I think this is just A Christmas Carol. Yes. Yep, that's it. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. And another reason that I love this set is they gave Mark Twain some love, but they also gave Tom Sawyer some love, because a couple of rare ones, we've also got Tom Sawyer Abroad and Tom Sawyer Detective. That is a great 2 for $1 double feature right there. And of course, Huckleberry Finn. A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. These guys really, they were on the Mark Twain train here. And the last one that I know that they put out, the last Mark Twain that I have, is The Prince and the Pauper. That's a fun one. I like that one a lot. Getting some horror in here, we've got Frankenstein. This was the first version of Frankenstein I ever read. I love that cover. I really do. And we've got Dracula. Moving on to some science fiction here. We've got a trilogy of H.G. Wells, The War of the Worlds, The Invisible Man, and The Time Machine. We're coming to the end here, I promise. We're just about done. The Secret Garden here is another one. I've never read The Secret Garden. This isn't one that I had originally. I picked this one up as an adult at some point. And again, my daughter had a version of The Secret Garden. I might actually have 3 versions of The Secret Garden in my house somewhere. I've never read any of them. Some Rudyard Kipling here. We've got The Jungle Book, Volume 1, and The Jungle Book, Volume 2. I think Volume 2 is the one that's got Rikki Tikki Tavi in it, about the mongoose and the cobra. Great story. Another Rudyard Kipling here. We've got Captains Courageous. And Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe. Also not the first Robinson Crusoe edition that I ever tried to read, although this is the first one that I made it all the way through. I struggled the first time. I think I was too young for the language, but by the time I got this one, read it, loved it, still love it. But wait, there's more. They also put out about 2/3 of the Wizard of Oz books. This was how I knew, I'll show you here, the original Wizard of Oz series by L. Frank Baum. I don't think that they put all of them out. I've tried for years to find the others. I've actually found evidence that there are some that they did not release, which makes me sad because I'd like to have the full complete set of all of the Wizard of Oz books, that original series by L. Frank Baum, but I'm not going to get it in these. I have all of them that they put out except for the original Wizard of Oz, the very first book. I'll go ahead and show him to you, and this will round it out here. We've got the Land of Oz, Ozma of Oz, Dorothy and the Wizard in Oz, The Road to Oz, The Emerald City of Oz, Tick-Tock of Oz, Rinky-Tink in Oz. If I remember right, the ones of all these that I've read, this one was my least favorite. The Oz books get progressively just more bonkers as you go throughout. They're delightful. They're fun. This one just didn't hit with me. I can't even remember why. Just maybe too weird. And The Lost Princess of Oz are those. Someday I'll get the entire Oz series and get them all read. I've read all of these, some of them a couple of times. But there's like 4 or 5, I think, that they didn't ever put out. So maybe someday. I hope you enjoyed that little tour through this classic library. I'd love to know if you recognize this set, these Walmart 2-for-1s. And I'm going to wrap this up by sharing something of what these meant to me. I alluded to it a little bit earlier at the beginning of the video, but how awesome would it be if you could walk into, say, a Walmart today and feel that they actually cared about your children's literacy? Because to me, that's what this was. Not just easy to get, accessible, affordable. I mean, I could go out and mow somebody's lawn as a 12-year-old and get a couple of bucks and bring home 3 or 4 of these novels. And I go home and I put those on my shelf, and I am so cultured right now. I'm a 12-year-old kid, and I've got a whole shelf full of the classics, the greatest in literature that there is. Because some publisher out there cared about getting this into my hands. And I'd love to go back and live in that world. That's the kind of attitude that we try to project to our children here. Is we're not talking down to them. We're not reading down to them. Granted, some of these are still a little bit old for them. Some of these were old for me when I bought them, but that didn't matter because I wasn't being talked down to. I was being educated up. Said, we're going to put this into your hands, and when you're ready, you can read it. And it's going to make you more literate. It's going to make you more worldly. It's going to give you understanding that you didn't have before. It's going to give you context that you didn't have before. You're going to be able to understand references that older people make that you don't understand now. And you just don't get that anymore. And I loved that as a kid. I really did. It may sound weird, but I was proud of these books. I'm still proud of these books. Mostly because I could buy them myself. I bought all of these myself. My parents didn't buy any of these for me. Because they were accessible, they were affordable enough that if I wanted them bad enough, I could get the money to get them. They weren't out of my price range. I could see it. I could grasp it. It was easy for me to get, 50 cents or $1. Some days I could only afford to get one. And I couldn't afford to get all of them at the time. I know there were some that I left. I had to choose which ones I would get. Which is why still today, I'm still looking. Every chance I get, if I can find another one of these, I'll grab them. Yeah, most of these I had when I was a kid, but I've gotten probably, 6 or 8 of them as an adult in recent years. One of them I found just recently. It's A Christmas Carol. Yeah. A Christmas Carol I found, I think, just maybe 6 months ago. I hope that if anybody out there, if you have kids, or maybe when you were a kid, you had the kind of experience that I did. Someone trusted you enough with great literature that turns you into the person that you are today. And if that didn't happen for you, I hope that someday you'll be able to inspire a young person in that same way. Whether it be with these kind of books, with whatever you have on your shelf, but just get them out there, get kids reading, whatever it may be. I hope that you can share some of that experience. That was mine. I hope you enjoyed this tour. If anytime that I may be able to find any more of these, I'm going to make another video and show you the rest of them as we add to the collection. There can't be very many more of them out there. There really can't. I don't know, but we'll see. So I'm going to leave you with that. I hope you enjoyed. Wherever you're at in the world, the country, I hope you're staying warm and you're having a wonderful week. God bless. We'll see you next time. Brad out. Bye.